Well, thank you everyone for coming today. It's not the nicest day to be at the beach, but thank you very much for attending today. We really appreciate it. My name is Troy Feakin. I'm one of the account managers with FBS. Along with me today, we have Matt Epstein. He's my direct colleague, dealing directly with all of our customers on a lot of one-by-one basis. And then we also have Dave Rifkin. He's our Vice President of Sales. We come from a little bit different locations around the country. I'm based out of our home office in Fargo, North Dakota. So if you hear an elongated vowel, or anything of that nature, or you betcha, don't you know, that's why. So again, thank you guys very much for inviting us down here. We appreciate the invitation. We look forward to hopefully a long business relationship with you. Today we're going to go over some functionality of FlexMLS that some of you may be entirely familiar with. You might be a member of either the Lower Keys or the Florida Keys boards just up the highway. Perhaps this might be your very first view at the product. And we definitely appreciate any questions that you might have as far as your specifics of what you do in your day in, day out type routines. And we're going to highlight a lot of those things, but again, feel free to ask us questions if we're in that vicinity of a special area that you might have difficulties in today that you would like to improve your business process, or perhaps it might be something that you find very functional in your current MLS product and you want to make sure that we touch on that as well, again, to suit your needs specifically. A little bit of background and company history about FBS. We've actually been printing MLS books for about 35 years. We just recently stopped printing books a few years back when really the mobile age started picking up hot and heavy. Everybody nowadays carries a mobile device with them, whether that be a phone or whether that be an iPad or a tablet of some nature. With that, we brought a lot of our development focus specifically for the mobile atmosphere. Our web focus is still very much there. And my connection timed out. Our web focus is still very much there, and we're still continuing to develop that side of things. However, we're into the mentality of developing mobile first, and then those same type of development cues go into the web interface. Consumers nowadays, there's a lot of studies that a majority of consumers, not only are they looking at the properties online before ever contacting an agent, a vast majority of times, but they're doing that on a phone or on a tablet. So again, we're hopefully developing those areas of the system to hit those consumer needs as much as possible. Another thing about consumers, their desire for a lot of content and a lot of information is extremely high. So while there might be national portals out there that they can visit, they're going to come back to you for the real information or the real content. And we're developing very strong and very powerful tools for the consumer once they come to you, so you retain them, you keep them in, and you be able to provide that start to finish type of transaction. So again, FBS is based out of Fargo, North Dakota. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but Microsoft has their second largest campus in the country is just down the street from our office. So we're a really big technical hub, and we develop all of our software in-house, and a lot of our developers have actually come from the local colleges and student base after they've graduated. We're able to provide really great tools as far as the mobile type of interface. Android users, we have a FlexMLS app for Android users. For iPhone users, we have a FlexMLS app for iPhone users. Also, the system itself is fully functional on an iPad. So if you have an iPad, you can log into the regular flexmls.com and you can do all the same features as if you had a laptop. Okay? So all of that functionality is there. Statistics, adding of listings, CMAs, depending upon how you do business, hopefully we're providing that software so you can do that without having to purchase special equipment or manipulating your day in and day out operations. So up on the screen I actually have in the forefront here, this is our app directly itself. So inside of the app, some of the main functionalities when you open a mobile type device and you're looking for properties, Those main things is you want to see what your customers are doing. You want to be able to do an MLS number search or an address search. And all those things are there and available right from the very top of this operation here. We call it the quick launch. And the quick launch is the same functionality inside the full system as well. But inside of that quick launch, if you were to tap on it with your finger, it's kind of hard to see, I guess, on some of the LCD screens up above your heads, but the projector shows a little bit better. But your recently ran searches, wherever you are at, on your phone or on your laptop, but those recently ran searches are going to be available there. If I want to type in the contact or the name of a specific agent inside of the MLS, so I want to get his phone number, or maybe it's one of your contacts, I can type that in and it'll find their contact information or a phone number or access to another agent's listings right from that quick launch as well. Easy to access, quick one location spot to get the business done and take care of it that day. However, how many people use voice to text? You talk to Siri or any of those Google types of things. That one top or that quick launch box at the top, you can actually use that to type in or talk specifically to it and get search criteria, and the screen will refresh and you can actually type in or voice to text search criteria right in that one box. So if you're waiting for a client or you're sitting at a coffee shop, and you can voice to text right in your phone and do a basic property type search from that specific or that one quick launch bar. So really good, cool tools right from the quick launch. There is also the address search functionality that's here. MLS number search right from the screen. Your recently ran and your favorite type of saved searches are all available right off the home screen. And then at the bottom you have some primary functionalities as well. The flame, that's going to allow you to look at specific hot sheet information based on a search term or timeline criteria. There's also a series of, kind of looks like hanging folders. Those are your collections or like a shopping cart. So as your clients build their shopping carts, their collections, you can access those from there. And then also a specific contacts connection box. And that, as you have active contacts, you'll see a notification there as far as how many new listings or how many times that they've favorited listings. You'll see a little notification right on this little man type icon here. Inside of this contact list, when you go into there, you'll be able to see that contact's email address, phone number. If it's designated a mobile phone, it'll be a tap to send a text message to them. And then also inside of here, you can see this person's collections. So you can see how many times they've favorited listings and what listings those are, how many times they've liked and disliked listings. So these are all available to you just with single taps. And this interface is largely identical to the one that consumers receive. So you receive an easy to use interface, a quickly access interface, and all that high definition photos, high pieces of content and criteria are all right directly on this screen. And for agents, some of the most prominent information on this screen, how do I show it? Because of standards in the industry, there's a button right here that says showing info. And when you tap on that, you'll be able to show the phone number to call, whether it's a lockbox access only, or any other specific pertinent information about that property. Again, get you in, get you out, get that content in your hands as quick as possible. What's that?
Tap on Scott's name so we can see that you're looking at that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so as you're looking at this information, if you want to talk to a specific list member, you tap on their name and their phone number and email address will all become available right from that screen. Search functionalities, what goes along with mobile phones? When you're looking at Yelp, you're trying to find restaurants or points of interest that are in your vicinity, that are around you. With this, the new search functionality, when I go into it, it's going to give you some help tips. So if you want, you can bypass all that kind of stuff. But it's immediately going to give you a search based on your map location or based on your GPS location for you. You don't have to zoom in around to a different area depending on where you are or what key that you're on for that matter. You can pinch to zoom. You can see the highlighted bubbles that show a grouping of multiple listings. And then as you zoom down into those specific locations, it'll start to split apart those clusters, as we call them, into individual different map points. And then the different colors represent different things. Greens are active listings. If you see an orange listing or an orange dot, that's going to indicate something that's got an upcoming open house. So again, really easy to access content for you and your client. As soon as you zoom down far enough in where it's not going to just populate over the top of every single little thing, you're going to start seeing property prices. And as you tap on the individual properties, it's going to give you a preview down on the bottom portion of the screen. And these three little dots that are showing right next to the property here, same as the previous display. When I look at that, I'm going to be able to do actions and find my showing activity or showing information, again, quickly and easily without spending a lot of taps or without diving in too far to find property data and property info. Tapping on the actual property will give you the full property information, so all of the access to all the remarks. I can even get driving directions from my phone, so if you get lost. Quick and easy access to your tax information. So the Florida Keys boards, they use CRS. For you guys, you're using a different tax provider, and your tax provider for Realist is going to display there. So when you tap on it, you'll get the Realist report.
Can you show us the CRS tax info right now?
Sure. So I'm going to tap on it, and it's actually going to load it up into kind of a separate window, if you will. And there's the CRS report that it's displaying right in my phone. Okay? And the Realist report's displayed the exact same way.
But the key is that you can have, that was a question, is that you can have the Realist tax platform. You don't have to migrate over to what the other keys boards are doing.
Yep. Yes?
Can you go back to that screen where there's like the circle with the three dots in it?
Oh, from
Yeah,
this screen? Yep.
Right there?
Yep.
When you click that,
The three dots?
yeah, do you get, I saw something where, can you email from right, when it says share?
You
I
can.
email that right
Right.
from there?
Yeah, you can email that right directly to your client. Perhaps you're at an open house. You're sitting there and someone walks through the door, and instead of handing them a stack of printed materials, you can just open it, send it directly to them, record them as a contact, all that directly from your phone.
The collections allow for you to drop it into any of your contacts' carts. So if you're looking on your device, you're in and around a house and you wanted to drop it in Scott's cart, you can recommend it or add it to a personal collection. So those are the two different options there.
So, and again, this is a native app. So a lot of these really cool functionalities, the ability to swipe through the photos, the responsiveness of the displays, the ability to do things like the third-party type of integrations. So whether it would be, RPR, for example, showing type system, tax integrations. We have numerous customers that have varying third-party softwares that we integrate in. We can build those right into the app.
And then right there, you could schedule an appointment on your calendar, on your phone, or to the person?
This particular one, in the Florida Keys board and Lower Keys board, they use a new, it's going to ask me to log in because it's using single sign-on, but they use a new showing vendor. It's called Hello Show. Yep. So clicking on or tapping on that will go to the Hello Show message system. Yeah, right in there. So whether it's Hello Show, Showing Time, Showing Assist, CRS, or no, that's tax. Anyways.
That's not actually to your calendar on your phone.
Correct. This is to request a showing through the automated system.
To the listing agent.
Yep. Or the listing member, when you tap on their contact information, it'll bring you directly to their info. Again, being it's a mobile phone, you can tap on this is a message bubble. If you tap on that, it'll launch open your phone's default text message system. So you can text them or phone them. Nobody uses the phone for a phone anymore, they just text message, right? So easy access again to all those single click areas. And with this, again, you can go back to the map system. And another really cool feature is that with this area of the map, if I wanted to, there's even a draw tool right here. So instead of showing all the properties around me, if I wanted to segregate my search criteria, I can tap on that, and then I can draw using my finger around a specific neighborhood section, and it'll draw my search criteria right there. So once we have the search criteria in the top here, and this is really kind of generalized as far as geographical searching. A lot of you obviously will want to search by bedrooms and bathrooms and price ranges and those things. One of the biggest struggles for a lot of mobile companies or mobile apps is that you have to learn a search process in your MLS system on your laptop, for example, and then you have to learn a search process on your phone. The fields are in different orders. Maybe it's not even fields that you search on. So in the MLS system, you're already customized that. You have your specific order of fields that you always search on. You don't have all the excess ones there. And we build that right into our mobile site. So when I click on this filter option in the top right here, it's going to automatically grab the same exact search structure that you have in the MLS system, and it brings it into your phone. So again, you don't have to relearn where the square footage field is, or scrolling all the way down to find a different price type of criteria. It's the exact same order as you're using it on your laptop or your desktop. Okay, so really cool features with regards to that. And even if there is a one-time type of scenario where you need to add a different field that's not in this search criteria list, I can do that here with the Add Field button at the very bottom there, and I can start typing out the field I want to search on, and any searchable field in the MLS is at your fingertips now. So you don't have to be excessively prepared to look up what the type of limit boundaries, or maybe there's an easement on the property and you have searchable fields with that type of regard. You can easily find that right from this screen by adding a new field. And then also inside of here, you're not restricted to just on market listings. You could even bring up historical CMA range type of listings. You may be prepping for a CMA or showing it right to the customer. You can tap on the status criteria here and include, closed listings. And then down at the bottom, I can do my to and through, or my relative date range type of searching for my criteria. And with that date range type criteria, it's going to update, and now I got 19 results from my previous 7 that were on the market that were just inside of that map range. And then I lose connection to my phone. And unfortunately, I was giving my colleague a hard time because his phone wasn't staying connected to his laptop yesterday when we were doing the same thing.
So while we're waiting for this, any
there we
questions
go.
on what we're talking about so far? This is a good pause. Natural pause.
Those searching parameters that you had on the phone, you said those were the most common?
Right. So
That
Well, that's-
for MLS or for us personally?
right. So
does it matter?
right now, right now, the way that you know it is that, let's say you have a quick search or you have a standard search, and those fields line up the way that they're in the same order every single time. When you do that in your current MLS system. Well, the same would be true when you go to mobile in our system. The way that you access that quick search on your desktop, when you go to your mobile, you'll see those fields being in the same way. So where mile marker is today is where mile marker will be on your mobile device.
So it's kind of going to show maybe that first page on a standard search, then that additional criteria you could.
Right. So today what you experience is you have like a quick search, right, that is based on property type, and then it opens up the additional criteria tab. In Flex MLS, it's different. It's just one page, and you can always add more fields. You don't have to have an additional criteria tab. You just add a field. That's what Troy showed, and you just bring that field into your single page. You don't have to toggle to multiple tabs.
But there's not really a list to choose from. them, so you need to know for a fact the name of that field.
No, there's
No, you can filter.
But it's a long list because it's every field.
Yeah, so I have it back up on the screen here, and when I go down to the bottom, and these are templates. So your primary search templated fields. If you always search on these dozen or so fields, and there's an add field button, and inside of here you can either start typing and it'll filter out the fields based on what you've typed in, or if you wanted to go through all of them, you could go through all of them. And then also inside of the feature type groups, let me get down to, here's some like feature type groups. Keep going. Like interior and exterior type amenities. If I wanted to grab the entire group of those amenities, so association info, I can extract all of them or select all of them. And now it's going to bring those association type fields right into my search criteria, my search template.
Is it,
Right there.
yeah. Is it
Yeah.
basically, if you've customized one that you're using on your desktop, it's going to be on your mobile?
Yeah, that's a great.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's not what what the head office has, it's what
It
you've
could-
done on your
Correct.
website? Okay.
Exactly.
It
Right
could
on
be
the
both.
nose.
It could be both. So that you still have access to what the, so you have the Key West MLS kind of
Right.
created these standard fields, and then you have your custom search. Well, that custom search can be taken advantage of here.
Yeah, like if you have clients that focus on marinas, condos with marinas, and you have those special fields that you search on, you can create a template called my marina search template, and those fields will be there.
The other distinction that we should probably make is when Troy referenced saved searches. The saved searches are the same whether it's on desktop or mobile. They're not two different searches. They're not mobile searches and desktop searches. It's one and the same. Makes it easier for you to understand. So that's an important piece too.
Yep. Thanks for clearing that up. So on the map, and I have my criteria that I entered, including the map shape, and I'm going back a certain period of time. I'm also displaying solds on the listing. Then there's that was the map display. Then there's kind of the grid display. So you go through it again. That circle with the 3 dots is right there. So I can add it to a collection. I can email it. I can save it. I can see the showing activity, all directly from inside of here. Then also, if I just tap on the listing itself, it's not so happy with that, I guess. I got it. So inside of the grid display, when you tap on the specific property itself, you'll see the full display. That's what I was kind of showing before, that include the showing instructions, the directions, and it's not a short abbreviated amount of content, it's the full property detail. It's not leaving anything out of there. Then as I go back, there's another display which is kind of a preview display with bigger photos. So as you scroll through it, it'll start displaying the photos for each individual property in your results set. And if you pause at this one, you can then swipe with your finger to look through the pictures. All right, we'll continue on. We'll look at the next set. Yeah, it's kind of a weird formatted. So I don't know if these were these are a data share listing or not. I'm not entirely sure on that one. I'd have to look at the list numbers. Yeah, that's one of your guys' listings, so. The timeshares?
Small it is.
Yeah, it's probably a little teeny tiny picture, so it's not able to render. But you can flip through all of them, and then again you can flip back with a big circle back to the full map display. So this mobile type service, we've had this now for a little over a year. We released the iPhone app the very first time during the mid-year meetings last spring. So it would have been, was that May last year. We've had multiple new version upgrades to include third-party integrations, and now some new features and functionality that we're releasing later this fall and into the winter include the ability for a consumer, your customers, to download Flex MLS on their phone. So when you send a link to auto emails, so here's an auto email or a manual email that you sent to a client. It'll give them a preview of the property. So it shows the preview and it gives you an image. and auto emails will show them the reason why they're receiving it, whether it's a new listing or a price reduction or back on market type scenario. So they received this with their phone, and when they tapped on that with their laptop, that one single link, they click on it on their laptop, it's going to drive them into their portal. So it's branded to you, and Matthew's real pretty there. But inside of their portal, it's going to give them some self-help tips, okay, as if you were there helping them out. And depending upon your branding, it can display your company colors and your logos. But inside of the portal, they'll be able to see when those changes showed up in their portal. So it'll give them a date and a time stamp so they can see when it came in. It'll give them some thumbs up, thumbs down, and a heart functionality so they can favorite it, they can like it, or they can dislike it. All right, so this is the consumer-driven side of things, and it looks like Matt's type of content has too big of a logo on it, so it's making the branding really big.
Actually, I just changed it.
Oh, did you? Matt just changed it, he said. So let's see if do you get rid of the branding
Change it right
entirely?
on your phone?
Oh, so there you go. So Matt just was in the system and he updated his settings, and I re-clicked on the link and it updated live to the client.
So our portal is customizable, just so you know. You have the ability to configure the way that this displays. So if I, for example, set up my portal, if I was the agent, I wanted my client, when you open up the email, to load it up to photos. I could have had them say, when you open up this email, I want it to load to the report, or I want it to load to the map. So I have that capability as an agent to say, what do I want you to look at first?
So if you don't do the heart or the thumb up or the thumb down, it just kind of stays, we have a category called newly matched. It just kind of hangs out there and.
Yeah, we have a functionality that's called news feed in our system. So that's very first operation, and that's what I'm looking at as my news feed. And then that number will signify how many listings that I haven't viewed yet as a client. So you can toggle them off. I've read it. And then if they'd like to take action on them, they can. You can take action on those listings on their behalf. And now what I was trying to get at with this is that link brought me into the desktop realm. And then if I bring it up from my phone, that same link, so I click on an auto email link right directly from my phone. As a consumer now, it's going to go through a process to identify or signify of whether or not I'm using a desktop device or a mobile device, and it might just be because I'm connected to that overhead. There we go. So now as a consumer, I'm also seeing a mobile interface. Instead of having to send 2 links or multiple attempts to send them different content, now as a consumer, they can flip through the listings, they can view the property information, they have a contact operation for you, so they can phone you or they can text you at the top. So this is where we're at today. And then right at the next steps of what we're going to do with this is drive the consumer into a native app coming this fall and this winter.
So the other distinction to make too is that this was an auto email that Troy sent, but if he clicks back on the listing detail display, we have hooks into using the client portal. So when you auto prospect your client, you want them to go into their portal and like and dislike. You don't want them to get 2 different emails to have to search through. You want it all to be one and filter through one. That's what we do. We filter it through one. So if Troy clicks on a listing, you'll see that there's a thumbs up and a love it type of display. It's down right below the marketing. There it is, right there. There's your hooks into your portal, so that if the client wants to like or dislike from an auto email, they can do that and then get into their portal directly.
And if you just feel neutral about it, because you don't know, you don't love it, you don't hate it, you don't even want, it doesn't even deserve a thumbs up, where does it go?
Then it's
It's just in your full news feed.
just in your news
Yep.
feed.
Just say.
Yep.
Does it show that you read it basically or looked at it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. If you do.
Yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, it'll highlight to the agent that it hasn't really been viewed yet.
What's that
necessarily.
message tab? For on the normal computer?
On the desktop.
On the desktop.
Oh, this tab here.
Yeah.
So this is a messages tab that allows the consumer to read messages or notes that you've made about that property. So you can indicate
Oh,
this is a great view.
Property you already own in that area. You could do
Sure.
little stuff like that.
Yep. Or perhaps it was during a viewing. You went and viewed multiple homes or this home with your client, and as you went through the home, you both took notes about this property on their phone. They could open up this link of listings that you sent them, or you could open this.
had the orange room, or this had that.
Exactly. Yep. This place had the great, the pool that needs some repair. This place has the great kitchen, etc. Yes.
They cannot comment on it, or the consumer cannot make comment that you see or ask questions on that property.
There's a message or an actions function that's right next to the property here, so then they can make listing notes.
And we'll see your notes.
Correct.
You do that, Troy.
Yep.
So listing notes also means questions.
What's that?
Tester, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So when I try to make a comment on that, it's going to require me to log in. Oh, so now that I'm logged in, now it allows me to write a message about it, and that'll, as the consumer, I can write a message on it.
So there's 3 options for you in our system. So right now you're used to listing notes. So that's the message, the listing notes feature. So we can schedule a showing or contact request. And in both of those instances, one will allow for the consumer to say, this is when I want you to show the property, like a certain date and time. Or a contact request gives you the ML number as the agent and then their contact information directly in the messages tab.
I have a question. When you want to write a message, if you go back to that,
Are you being the customer or are you being the agent?
I'm in as the consumer right now.
right,
Yep.
the consumer,
Yep.
it defaults to FBS test, right?
That's the agent ID that we're using.
Right.
Yep.
And that's the only option you have.
Well, it would say your name. If you're the agent providing this to the consumer, it'd have your name up there.
Did you put an email in there?
It automatically messages the agent through the
That's not to send it to a
That's right.
friend,
Yep.
right? Is that what you mean, Ed? To send it to a friend?
To send it to a friend, we have a share functionality
Okay, no,
built in as
It's going
well.
to come to me, the agent.
Yeah.
Is it going to come to me through Flex or through my email?
Both.
Okay.
Yep. And also when those email messages, something that it's not widely used right now, but and people maybe aren't necessarily aware of it, but as you receive a notification from your client asking questions, it records the message in FlexMLS, and then it also records a message and sends it to your email, your primary email account. If you actually click reply on that email message, it would send it back through FlexMLS, record it in the agent's messages area in their portal, and then deliver it to their email as well. So I don't see many people take advantage of it, but it's really kind of a cool trick.
So the consumer can be in this looking at what's on their portal,
Yep,
and if they see something, they just click on that, send you an you get the email.
correct.
They go down and
Yep.
see another one, send you another email.
Yep.
They don't have to open up their email account or anything.
Not necessarily, no. No.
And yeah, there's a couple cool things, and I had a cool experience. So my wife and I bought a house and moved to Arizona, and they use FlexMLS. So my realtor set up my portal, and I was logging in as a consumer. And I would, beforehand, I would mark the favorites and say, okay, these are the houses I want to see this weekend. I didn't have to send him an address or MLS number. He just logged into the contact manager, which we'll see in a little bit, and he saw the ones I favorited and set up the appointments. Then when we were looking at houses, he made sure he handed my wife the iPad and for her to write notes after each home before we left it. So at the end of the day, when we logged into our portal and reviewed what we saw our individual notes. So it really was, it was kind of a fun experiment, being a consumer side of things. I'm usually on this side of the podium,
And
but
you can voice your notes? Could you do voice?
yeah, I mean you can. That's really a function that voice to text is a function of your phone or your tablet, but it certainly works in the tech boxes as well.
Yep.
So we don't provide the voice to text technology, but we work with it with your phone.
So, and then just, I think we're kind of wrapping up this part as far as the mobile services that we can provide, the consumer type facing services we can provide in the collaboration. And I'm going to show you a little bit of a glimpse because the app functionality is going to largely be the same for the consumer as what you were seeing already, the navigation functions. But on the web side of things, I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse on the the side of what that web portal is going to look like once we release that, because we're going to be releasing that later this winter, fall, or this fall, winter, and it's in beta currently. So when they log into it, it's actually going to have a really cool front branded page. But as you go inside of it, you can see that the functionality or the icons and the styling are largely identical to the styling they're seeing on the mobile devices. So as we develop and as we enhance those things, so they can see all of their likes as well. So all the different functionality is here, and the same type of short display or larger type display for the properties. Those are all available to them with those icons. The high resolution images, they can flip through those. If they're on a tablet, they could use their finger swipe to go through those. Looking at the map itself, you know, as they zoom down into the map locations, same thing like the mobile device, it's going to give the little bubbles, and they can do mouse overs to see brief property information. So this is what's coming right down the pipe, this fall winter type of scenario. And you know, so it gives you a little bit of an idea of what we have to come. Does anyone have any other questions regarding where we are at with mobile, or what it took to get to where we're at? All right, very good. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Matt, and he's going to do some demonstration as far as the Flex MLS web side of things. Why don't you use it without that, since you got your email and stuff, in case you need to go back to your contacts.
Yeah, so right now, just to reiterate while they switch computers here, they everything you saw up until that last screen is everything that's currently available today. The consumer portals, our native apps. Does everyone know the difference between native and web apps? So the native apps are what you download from your app stores, right? Your iTunes store or your Google Play store if you're on an Android device. So those are little programs that run on your phone. They still use the internet to get data, but there's a little bit better control that we can have doing native apps as opposed to just running in your phone's browser. Okay, so that's a web app. So right now we have the private versions of those native apps, which we developed and have been released, that you download from the store. If you have a Windows phone or BlackBerry phone, we still have the web app, and that runs on your browser. And when you send a link to your consumer, like Troy clicked on, it's going to open up in their phone's browser or their desktop browser, whatever device they're on. Because we don't want them, when your consumer clicks on a link, you want to say, oh, you got to go to the store to download XYZ or something. You want them to view listings with one click. So that's why we use their browser. But what Troy mentioned is coming soon will be the native versions. Well, after they click on that link, we'll detect, oh, you have an iPhone? Hey, there's a app you can download. And then they could download that, and then they can have, it's a little bit of a better user experience in that native world, right?
So the app part is not quite available yet.
The app part for the agents, yes, it's been available for a little over a year. Coming soon is the app parts for your consumers, and for the consumer portal. So once they log in, those apps will be branded towards you, the agent, just like it was on the web app.
And then they can search the whole MLS through that.
Well, that'll depend on more of a business rules. It's more, it'll be more just like our portal is now, where the properties and searches that you've set up for them. Technically, yes, they'll be able to have some searching, but that's more of a business rule on the MLS side if you want that to be determined.
Just real quick, so they download the app and it's branded to you?
Well, yeah, it'll be once they log in.
And if we sort of lose contact and then go work with another agent, it's still branded to me?
Well, it'll depend on their login, right? Because when you set them up with the portal, and that's how it works today. When you set them up with the portal, that's basically a little website that's branded towards you. You give them the URL, and that URL is specific to you, and then they log in, and then it's branded to you. If they logged in another agent, they're logging in via a different path with a different user ID and password. So then it'll be branded towards that agent, right? So it's really on what credentials they log in, agent A or agent B, who that portal will be branded to.
It's interesting because we can then track their activity when they're on our portal.
Yeah, once they're logged into your portal, and Matt will get into that kind of on the agent side, you'll see which properties they favorited and which ones they looked at, which ones they liked, which ones they messaged you on. Kind of like that example I talked about when I was looking at homes as well. So.
Thank you.
But if you're sending them emails, automatically or manually generated emails, they click on that link and it's driving them into your portal. So as long as they're continually getting that contact, they're gonna hopefully stay with you.
All right.
Yep.
Yep.
Like right now, it just automatically, they don't have to download an app. Will they still have that option?
Oh, of course, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's our mobile web, right, which is just a browser, and that's phone agnostic, whether they're using some BlackBerry phone or what have you, right? So that'll always be there. So once they click on that, they'll be delivered to the listings. If they have an iPhone app, then they'll say, hey, or if they have an iPhone, they'll say, we'll recognize what kind of device it is. Hey, go ahead and then have the option to download the app. It'll be an option for them. So,
Hey guys, I want to reiterate that you guys should really hold the questions to the end. I know they're
we asked for them. Sorry, our fault.
I'm encouraging you because they're really nice guys, but we have to keep this the same throughout. And we held the questions till the end for the other presentations, so we need to hold questions to the end.
Can I ask one question? Who are you guys? I gotta know who you are. Who you
have
are
the
up
gavel?
here? Yeah, gavel, and they're presiding over us.
We're the
You
ones
were
that.
first.
Oh, okay.
Making you nervous, huh?
Making me nervous up there. I feel like I'm being judged.
The Last Supper.
My gosh. All right, well, you guys. So again, I'm Matt Epstein. I'm going to demo the desktop version now. So we talked about native applications. Again, to make a distinction today, we developed in-house native applications. The advantage of that is it powers off the operating system of your phone, gives us performance, gives us some touch gestures that you couldn't get from a mobile web product. We actually have three. We have mobile web, native applications, and you can use your entire desktop on tablets as well. So that's really the distinction that I wanted to make today. This is the desktop product. Again, the desktop product allows you as an agent to go in and make this your own. So you don't have to be encumbered by what the MLS sets for you. If you have a specific way of doing business, you can configure the dashboard to be however you want it. Meaning, you can move these modules around. So I can make my new search be on the left side, and I can drag and drop. And you're kind of used to that today in Wrap. But we also have the ability to customize and add certain gadgets, and there's a slew of gadgets that you can add. You can add statistical gadgets, so you can see that sales original list price ratio is on my dashboard. I can even set that by location. So I'm able to look at that. I can even add gadgets like messages. So we talked about the messaging component of our system where it emails you and gives you an internal message via Flex. I can add that to my information, my daily information here. So there's the forums, I can add RSS feeds, I can see information about my collections, maybe my inventory gadget. There's a search functionality gadgets. Here's all your different styles of statistics. So those are all different gadgets you can add. The other advantage of having multiple gadgets is that you can have multiple dashboards. So if I wanted to, and I wanted to create an entirely new dashboard, I can add another dashboard, and let's just call it market statistics, and now I can have two dashboards set up. So I have a dashboard with all these different graphs on it that allows me to see something from a different perspective. Maybe my client's asking me about market conditions. I can do that, and then I can toggle and look at my preferred dashboard. So I have that functionality at my fingertips. It's not just one dashboard, you can have multiple. We talked about the quick launch feature. Troy did a great job explaining to you what the quick launch is. It's really kind of like Google, if you will. You haven't really been trained on Google, right? You gotta just use it. Well, that's kind of how we. Sorry, I even asked. We're trying to ask for feedback. Yadiris, don't kill me. So yeah, the quick launch is that kind of functionality and feel. We want you to be able to get in there. Like, for example, do you ever have a need to type in asking questions? Do you ever have a need to type in partial address? So you can type in a partial address. That's really important, right? You know the numeric street address. You don't know how to spell the name. So you can type in 354, and you can see that 354 brings up a couple different addresses. You can't even read it there, but it says 354 Oleander Road in Key Largo. There's 354 Sound Drive. There's 354 Vaca Road. So there's different addresses it's bringing up based on just a numeric search like that. So you don't even have to do an address search full out. You can be partial. And that's a really powerful piece right there. again, Quick Launch allows you to type in something you know, like an agent name. So Scott, we want to go preview Scott's listings. I can go and type in his name, and then you can see that there's a Scott here. I can select Scott in a multitasking fashion, meaning I go directly to Scott's information without losing my place, and I can go ahead and view his listings with one click. So that's the power of the Quick Launch. It allows me to do a multitask, allows me to go and do multiple things at once. So what we did is we opened it up in multiple browser tabs. Here's my home page that I'm in. I just think it's the display type. So that's the Quick Launch. Another thing that the Quick Launch does is it allows you to type in a contact. So let's say somebody's dealing with me on the phone, and he says his name is Scott. So let's go and I have a contact named Scott. Again, I can go directly to Scott's information without having to go to a home page icon, which opens up another window and then has to have me go through my contacts process. I can just do that directly through the Quick Launch. So since we talked about the portal and auto prospecting and all that information, I kind of want to stick here real fast and tell you everything we know about Scott's contact information, because this is a really powerful piece for us. So from the get-go, across the top, this is like a grid, and I'm seeing some powerful information here. Again, this is configurable. So when you're looking at your contacts records, you can configure how you want the columns to display. Maybe I want to look at the last time they logged in. Maybe I want to be able to identify really quickly when the last time they were matched with a new listing. So the newly matched listings I can have directly on this grid. So those are some important pieces. Down below, we break down the contact information on tabs, allowing for you to easily get to the information that you're wanting to know. So if somebody's talking to you about their portal, you don't have to search and navigate. It's a tab. It's called Portal. You just click on the Portal tab, and it tells you everything you need to know about Scott, in which I know that his portal's turned on. I can go and view his news feed, so I can do that directly from here. I can see his collections. Collections to us means your recommended listings, maybe the ones that he loved, the ones that he liked or disliked. I can see all that information directly from this interface. I can see the last time he logged in to his portal directly from here. Here's the more important piece, and I don't know your name, and I would call you out because you asked this question.
Shelby.
Shelby. Shelby asked, well, can we track that information, what they viewed? And the answer is absolutely. That's why we identify with a username and password. I'm able to actually look at, because not all of our clients save, like, and love listings, but they view the listings, and I want to know that. That's on the right-hand side. Listings viewed by Scott. He actually went in and viewed this address, this MLS number one time each.
Do they have to give us permission?
No, because you have an established relationship with them. You sent them a client portal. You gave them a username and password. It's for you to know. They're your client. If they want to be kind of autonomous, then you just send them an auto prospecting email, not to set up a portal. So that's the advantage of how we do things, is that we're able to track this information and give it back. We can also take this one step further and allow for the seller to get information on how their listing's doing by doing online. And so I can show you that piece as well. So you kind of call that your client's hits report. I mean, you use that? Sorry, I'm asking another question. You do use that, and I can show you that in our system as well. The other tab that is asked quite frequently is on searches. You know, how many searches can I set up? You can have multiple searches set up for your client. What we do a little differently is that we actually differentiate the searches. So we don't combine them all into the portal. They're different searches, so they can see if they're looking at condos, you can see condos separately than single family or leased, or maybe they're looking to rent and to buy. So you can differentiate those two in searches, and you can see the results differently as well. So in this, Scott, there's 10 listings in his search. I can see the listings on the right-hand side. I'm sorry, it's not that legible, but it says view new in the last 24 hours. There's been no new listings in the last 24 hours, but there's been 5 new in the last month. So I'm able to even see that component, that granularity. We talked about messages. So all this messaging features. So the question was asked, does it email us? And the answer is yes, it emails you. We also track all of the communication, the correspondence back and forth through our messaging tab. That's the tab to the right of the portal. And it's identifying the last time they logged in, the login notifications. And if you can see right here that Scott contacted me on 3714 Flagler Avenue in Key West. and he made some information, and I can see all that information. And as Troy mentioned, I can reply back to that, to his contact request directly from the application here. So that's how you do that. Notes are notes that you make about your client, not about the listing. Listing notes is where he can make those you can view clients' listing notes. So if I looked at test 2 and went to a different contact, I can see different notes on different things. And then links are links that we've sent out to the client manually. So if you notice on this client here, under links, those are those sent emails that you sent. So I'm looking and I can directly, so if Scott called me on the phone and said, hey, you sent me an email, I can go directly to his contact information, go directly to the links tab and open up that search results. I can see what I sent him. I can also see the last time he viewed it and the time and date stamp of when he sent it. So there's 2 pieces of functionality
They
there.
really think we're sending them these. So if they call and say you sent me, it's not.
Oh, it's identified. It also tracks the hit counts. So that's not a question mark. That actually says 2 hits. So Troy viewed that twice. Dave's really adamant on me zooming in. He thinks this is actually going to help. Can you see that? One more?
There you go.
How's that? Better? So that's
Now you
basically
can
what
see
it's saying. So again, we want to make it easy for you. The other thing that we've done as well is that within the contacts manager, we have the ability to filter down your contacts. So if you have like 10,000 contacts, you can just use this search bar and type in something you know, like maybe a couple characters, and drill down and find just that one. So you don't have to scroll an entire list of 1,000 contacts. We have a filtering capability there.
Sorry, I'm not sure what you said.
I said you can.
This
So-
is why we don't talk to Sodi. She doesn't understand English and she doesn't speak English.
So the other thing I want to talk about today is auto emailing events. And so actually, I'm going to show you a couple different ways. So number one, we call it auto emailing. Actually, we call it subscriptions. You guys call it auto prospecting, just to get the terminology correct. So what we have the capability of doing is a couple things. Number one is that you can set up an auto email or auto prospecting event for your client. You can have it on multiple searches. So you can have one search being a lease search that you want to have an auto prospecting event, and have that on a different frequency than you have for the property that you want them to buy. So you can have multiple different frequencies. We also have the capability of what's called a preview mode. I think that makes perfect sense. Preview mode means that I want to preview the listings prior to my client getting them. So they're going to be emailing to me directly. It allows me to preview the listings and then manually manage those listings that go out to my client. That's the preview mode. The scheduling frequencies. So a couple different scenarios here. So this is an auto email event for Troy. And what I have him scheduled on right now is on a weekly auto emailing process, meaning that he's getting batched a bunch of different properties that meet his needs on a daily basis and sent to him 1 time a day. Is that the frequency for Florida? So 1 time a day, my client wants to get this. He doesn't want to be bombarded. He wants to be updated whenever, every day, or maybe a specific day. Maybe he only wants these listings on Friday. So that's what you have the capability there. It's not one size fits all, and it's not one size fits all it's for all your searches. You can differentiate between your searches. Let's say you sold a house. You sold a house to a client. You want to keep them in the know. You want to keep that relationship going. You can set them up on an auto prospecting or auto email event on a monthly basis. And you can even define the day that they're going to get it on that month. So 1 time, I want to send them tickle them every month. And then the final option is an ASAP. ASAP is ASAP. That means instantaneous. As if it's a hot market, they want to be in the know. As soon as that listing changes, they'll get an email. And so that's what ASAP is. You also have the ability to customize your search, your message templates and all that good stuff, and you can even include a signature line. Troy kind of demonstrated what that looked like, so I don't want to go into it from there. So quick launch, we already demonstrated all the features and functionalities of that. Simple search queries you can do directly from here. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. It doesn't need to be in a particular order. 500K, you can do it that way. The goal of our searches, though, in our dashboard is to give you 1-click access into the system. So what you're going to see on the left-hand side is what's called our search template called residential. And am I using the Wi-Fi network? No, I'm using my Jetpack. So I'm not using the Wi-Fi. So what you're going to see right off the top is that there's no restrictions on the number of results you can bring back in Flex. You can bring back 10,000 results at once. So if I wanted to and show you the entire database, I'm not going to select a status. I can bring back 67,614 listings. There's no restrictions. We want to make it easy for you to do business. We don't want to have to tell you to go back and put in area, go back and put in bedrooms, and refine. The other thing that Troy mentioned was this thing called relative date range. So instead of having to do a to and through date, let me see if I can zoom in on this. Do you see that? That's the sold date. Instead of doing a to and through, you can put in numbers. You can say, just show me all the solds 90 days back. That's what I'm trying to do my evaluation on. That's what I want to put in. I don't want to have to do a calendar date. So you have that capability. Why is that important? Is that if you save a search and you go to run that 6 months down the road, you have to change your to and through. But with the relative date range search, you don't. Everything falls off. It meets those. It's relative. It meets it as you stated in the original search. So that's the importance of that. And that came from a Florida customer, as a matter of fact. Came from Beaches, right? Is that where it came? South Florida area.
One of the agents that we're familiar with actually was Dave's agent down in Arizona. He used it a lot for his customers to give them what he called a living CMA. So you identify the market area where they were looking, and then he'd identify that date range back, let's say whether it was 3 months or 6 months, depending upon the market time frame that they were at. And every time they click that link, they would see any of the listings that had sold in the last period of time, or any of the listings that were under market or under contract during that last period of time. So every time they click that link, they didn't have to get a new link every time, but every time they click that same link, it would always go back. And it's kind of a living CMA, if you will. It'll always be able to see what's going on in the marketplace, what's new, what's recently under contract, what's sold. Works really great for investors. Works great for people that maybe you're enticing them to list their property with you. You could give them a portal with that type of safe criteria, so they're always in the know about the marketplace.
So this is basically the search template. On the left-hand side is basically how you filter down the search. So as I modify my criteria, this is twos and throughs. I don't really need to go through this. You all know how to do all of this, the mins and maxes and things of that nature. But the key is that as you work, you get to see what you're doing. So this is 3 bedrooms. If I want to do full baths, I can do full baths, or any way that I want to minimize the number of results. What we also showed you is this add a field to a search capability. Why is that important? Is that you don't have to toggle through a general and additional criteria tab. You can add any field to a search and bring it in at any time. And I can always save that. If I use that field more often than not, I don't know what field would be applicable here, so I'm just going to say pool. Is pool not an option? Let's see. Here, I'll bring in pool info. So I just brought in the pool info. And now I have all this pool information into my search. What we give you the ability to do is save this as a search template. You can have multiple search templates. You don't have to redefine this every single time. You don't have to look and toggle between those 2 displays. I can act by saving, and if you notice all of your action buttons are above the tabs, I can act and save this as a quick search template. So if I wanted to, if this was Shelby, I'm going to use you, sorry. As this is my search template that I always want to create and go to, I can leverage it and create my own search template. I can have a search template for a client. I can have a search template for auctions. I can have a search template for whatever. It's not quick and just one custom search. It's quick and how many custom searches do you need to do your business. The other piece of the puzzle is you want to be able to search, and maybe you want to identify other things like videos or properties with virtual tours. Maybe you want to refine searches and see what's open in the next 7 days. You can do that all from your quick search. Here's the other good news. In Flex MLS, you don't need to learn a quick search, a map search, a standard search, and all of those things. A quick search is a map search. It's one and the same. The only difference is that a quick search shows the number and a map search shows the map. It's the same. So that's the 2100 results across all of the keys. So again, a quick search and a map search are one and the same. So the fields are the same, everything is the same. You don't have to know how to search differently for those. So if I wanted to search on a map and use my map tools, the map tools are down below. Notice that I just mapped 2,183 properties really quick using my MiFi card. The other thing I can do is let's do some kind of examples here. So one of the things that you may have to do in your business is you may have to create a CMA. And you can do a CMA a number of different ways in our system. You can use this map. You can even use this pin. You can see these pins. And you can, as you see these pins, you can say, okay, well, I want to draw a 1.5 mile radius from this property here, right near Olivia Street. So I can see this information. I can go to the public records information. But what you're seeing too is the ability to create a radius search directly from that house. And from there, I can define any size radius I want. Right now, it's defaulted to 1 mile. Maybe I want to do a 1.5 mile radius or a 1.7 mile radius, and I can create a radius directly from that point. That's the entire key. So that's the entire key. But what's great is that to redo this, I can do that. I can redo it fairly easily. I can edit the shape and bring in that radius. Bring it down and change the radius. I can also change the mode by creating maybe a polygon. I can do two different types of shape. I can do concentric circles. I can draw donuts. Maybe I want to say, show me all the results not within these shapes. I can kind of toggle the map to do different types of functionality. So there's 2,085 listings not in this shape. So again, with us, you can do a number of different options. You can see your listings within your results, within your shapes. And if you mess up, we give you the opportunity to change it. So it's not going to different screens, it's all on one page. I can edit the shapes. Let's say I wanted to bring this point out, I wanted to bring this in. I can change the shapes without moving and starting completely over. The other capability that we give you is that, and this might be really applicable for a lot of people, is that if you work a specific area or you want to just highlight a specific area for a client, maybe you want to save that map shape. You actually want to create a map. You want to create a shape that you can search and use every single time. I don't want to have to reinvent this every single time I go on. And to do that, that's the same search process, same functionality process as editing the shape. You edit the shape, and now you save it as a map layer. And I'm going to call this one Shelby too as well. Sorry, I know one name. I'm going to use it. So again, that was the advantage of our mapping capability. There's other advantages too as well that you can use from the map. I don't have any shapes. Now I don't have any shapes on. I can click and highlight and add all those 2,000 listings onto the map. I can zoom in and look at the parcel record directly from the map. So now I can turn on overlays. So in Key West, I can turn on the imagery parcel. So now I can even zoom in and go to a parcel that's not listed and see specific information on that parcel. So there's the specific information. And I can create a radius search from any parcel. It doesn't have to be one that's listed or had any history on it. So that's another use case that you can use. The other use case maybe is that you just know the address and you want to drop a pin like you do in Google. Same thing, we have that capability as well. So I'm going to zoom back out here for a second. I'm going to bring in Shelby's search. And so there's that polygon that I brought back in. And that refined, and I get to see my results as I work them. So there's 53 results within that search. So the next workflow, the next piece in your workflow is that you have this map, you create, great, I found 53 listings, Matt, what's next? Well, we like to break it down in tabs. So it's a split screen interface, nice and simple. You don't have to hit next and open up another window and another window. It's broken down in tabs. It actually spells the workflow for you. What do you want to do next? Do you want to go to the list view? I got to ask a question, Yadiris, I'm sorry. Do you want to go to the list view? Maybe 5 of you do. Does anybody want to go to the detail report first? Maybe 5 of you do. How many of you want to go to the photos tab and look at the photos of Dave wants to do that. So in Flex, the workflow doesn't have to be a certain way, like you know it today. It's broken down in tabs. So if I want to go to the Photos tab first, because he's my boss and I'm going to appease him first, then I'm going to go to the Photos tab and show you all the photos in a split screen interface. And so this is the split screen interface of the photos. We can handle an unlimited amount of photos. You can upload all your photos at once as a listing agent. We can handle a 15 megabyte file size per photo. Retina display photos of 3000 by 2000 screen resolution. That's the highest you can possibly upload. So you're not restricted to how you upload. We can handle it all. We want to handle the most high quality resolution photos possible. And I know that you handle good resolution photos today, and you can maintain that or increase it. Again, to paginate through these photos is quite fast. And again, I'm using my MiFi card. And I'm going through these photos. And Troy, do you want to talk about how we kind of handle this to make sure?
Yeah, so going back even to the upload process, is any, another question.
We're the ones that aren't
Who's-
allowed. You're allowed.
Who doesn't like to resize photos before uploading them? No one likes to resize photos. With FlexMLS, all of your photos are stored in a folder, probably on your desktop, or maybe you got it on a flash drive from your photographer, or it came in an email. You can drag and drop them into the listing maintenance screen, and it'll upload all of them for you. You don't have to touch or resize them at all. Okay, it doesn't matter what format they are. So for example, this one is in portrait format. It might be a landscape format. Professional photographers, they typically take like a 5:4 type aspect ratio, or you got a point and shoot camera in your 4:6 type format. You guys have breathtaking views around here. You can upload a panoramic photo directly into the MLS system, and we'll display it properly. We won't squish it down. And some really great features, even though you can upload hundreds of photos to every listing of yours if you would like, some great features is your computer is telling us how big that image location is, and we're gonna resize that picture before displaying it on your computer screen. So it's gonna display and deliver those images quickly, and same thing with your client. Maybe they're on a poor internet connection, so they don't wanna sit there all day downloading 10 megabyte photos. Don't worry about that. We'll resize the image before it's displayed on their computer screen, and they can flip through them very, very quickly. We even do some really cool technology where these photos are replicated, so backup-wise, they're replicated and they're stored even locally, maybe in Miami, for example. So instead of going all the way to Fargo to get this picture, you're actually just going to somewhere probably on the South Florida perhaps, or maybe even here for that matter. We're not really sure. But we replicate those images all over the world. So if you send to a prospective international customer, or they're on vacation overseas, they might be receiving an image from a backup server facility that's nearby. So really great, really cool technology we're using because people want to see big, beautiful pictures and lots of them.
So a couple things that I want to point out on this page specifically. Number one is that you can select a listing from here. You don't have to go back to the list view to select a listing. So if I like this listing right here, you can see it's highlighted on the left. I can select it right here. If I want to now go to the next listing, I can do that. If I have a business function, like I want to work on behalf of a contact, maybe I want to drop this listing into a client's portal or their collection, or what we call a collection, you guys call it a cart. There's a little star button right here that allows me to work on behalf of any of my contacts and do that. So that's functionality that I think you have today that you don't lose. I just want to make sure that you have that today, that you can work on behalf of or drop a listing in a cart. You selecting a listing directly from a photo is really important. Let's say I now want to look at the detail of that listing on this white street. All I do is I click on the detail tab or the MLS number, and it loads on the right-hand side without losing my place, the detail report. And again, I have it set up for this agent report to display. So I know exactly what I'm going to print before I even look at it. I don't have to go to a print screen to do this. It's right here. If I want to go to the next listing, I can do that. But if I want to look at the photos one more time, it's just a tab over. It's not opening new browser windows every time. It's not asking the servers to go back and forth and back and forth. So again, I'm looking at it from a detail perspective. If I want to look at the history of this listing, I can see the history of this listing, and this is your listings, so I believe. And I can see information like price changes, It's saying it's right here. It's saying it's had a 3.3% reduction the 201st day on the market. 201st day it was listed. Here's the new and old values. I can see the time and date stamps and who changed it and things of that nature. So that's all there for you to see. And this is in your history tab. So it's all nice and easily formatted. If I want to look at the tax information, let it be Realist. They use CRS. We bring in the Realist report directly into the system. So you guys don't use Realist. Let's see, there it is. There's the CRS report right into the system. The same would be true with the Realist report. You don't have to go down Realist and go look at it there. Brings it directly in, side by side. If I want to look at RPR, that's another tax platform. So that's just kind of showing you multiple platforms. It's directly right here. And then the more information, because we're kind of, I've had to zoom in, it's now saying it's collapsing and allowing, saying more. I can message and use a mortgage calculator or some sort of calculating function. So again, that's looking at that listing. If I want to go to the next listing, since I'm on the CRS tax information, it loads that screen. Don't have to be defined on a certain workflow. Now I'm loading the report. Again, we've customized the reports specifically for this MLS where I can see the information and get all that good information there. If I want to look at it if I want to select this, select the next listing or look at the next listing and use it, you can see that I have 53 results and 3 selected. So we actually create multiple bins. So we have 3 selected results, and then I can toggle to the 53, and I don't lose those important pieces. So let's bring up this use case. This is an important one. Let's say you're doing a CMA, and you brought back 53 results, and you started looking at it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to refine this a little bit further. I need to change it. I need to edit my search criteria. That's happened, right? So let's do that. You've worked on 53. You've selected 3. So the first tab in this whole entire workflow is Edit Search. So I can come in here and say, all right, well, the client needs at least 1/2 bath. So now I have 23 results. When I go back to my list, I don't want to lose all that work that I went so hard on the selected 3. We kept it. We kept those selected 3. So even though I refined my original overall results from 50-something to 23, I still kept those selected 3, and I can continue doing business. From the next function is, again, your map feature, so you can just see those 23 results on a map, or maybe you want to look at the selected 3. If you wanted to, let's say, create driving directions and you wanted to predefine it and drag and drop the sort orders, you can do that. Driving directions uses Google driving directions, so you can do that directly from the map. You can look at bird's eye imagery, Bing's bird's eye, Bing's bird's eye, Google Street View. So there's 2 mapping platforms we leverage in our system that you can do. And again, you can create a radius search from any listing. The compare function is a great feature for us. It does a couple different things. One concept that we brought up was comparison statistics. That allows you to do quick statistics on something you're looking at based on your overall matches, so you can give and provide good information to your client. The other feature that we brought in was actually based on a past Rapatoni account in Albuquerque that liked the quick stats feature of their MLS before. And so we've created basically this quick stats feature, and if I expanded it out, let me collapse this window here so you can see it a little bigger. This allows me to look at listings by status, average, median, low, and high statistics by bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, list price, list price per square foot, sold price ratios, sold to original list price ratios, all the average, medians, lows, highs, and volume. So I can do that, and then I can even do a days on market analysis, et cetera, based on that information. But I only have 4 results, so that's probably not a great example, but I can do it on the 23 too as well. And again, the messaging component basically allows you to add and write a message to any client directly from here. So that's searching and finding results in a nutshell. The next business functions that you do is you act. So you search, you find results, and you act. And those action buttons are always above the tabs. So you don't have to go through these workflows to do what you wanted to do. If I wanted to share these to Facebook or share them to email them directly from here, or Twitter, or send a permalink, a copy, I can send that. If I wanted to save this search, I could do that. If I wanted to save the selected as, I can save these listings to a cart from here. If I save a search, I can create my auto prospecting functionality. I can email. And this is a differentiating factor for us. This is where Troy hit on. When you send an email from our system, you don't send a print-friendly report. You send an interactive version. And what that definition means is that it's browser agnostic. So if you open it up from your mobile device, it's going to open it up in a mobile-friendly format based on the browser of your phone. Or if you open it up from your desktop, it's going to open it up in a desktop format, the way that you're looking and seeing FlexMLS today. So if I went to my email, well, number one, you're seeing some copies here that I sent out. You're seeing the emails where we talked about the login notifications. You're seeing that to my email. But if I were to view this listing in FlexMLS, the way the consumer looks at it, this is how they would open it up from their desktop. It's the same look and feel as an agent looks at it in the MLS. So there's no differentiation between the two. That's the continuity across our platform. Why change it? Why make you learn what your client's looking at? We want to keep everything the same and consistent. Makes it easier for you to train. We only have to train the system once. This is what you can direct your client from here because you know exactly, hey, what tab you're on. Click on the ML number, get you to the detail report. You know all that information. Within the email, your client will see price changes, a date and time stamp for that, the new listings that came on the market, active, etc. So it's the exact same interface that you saw here. The other thing that we do in our emails is that we don't want to say one size fits all. So we allow you to define and configure how you want to start your client when you email them. Can you see all this stuff? It says start position, so I can say where do I want this? What tab do I want to start my client on? Do I want them to be on the photo tab? Do I want them to look at the reports first? So you have that capability. You can even define what view they're looking at. So the one-line grid they're looking at. You can even define what report you want them to see. It doesn't have to be a standard report. You can have a customized report. You can choose from any one of the reports in the system. And then you can even define if history, supplemental information, you can email them documents. Maybe you want to show them some public-friendly documents that you want them to see prior to going to the listing with you. You can include those in the email to them. And you have branding capabilities too. And then finally, if you don't want to ever have to do this again, you can save your defaults so that it allows you to kind of say, okay, I've configured it one time and now I want to save it. On the right-hand side is the recipient information of an email. So you can create a new contact directly from the screen. You can select a contact to send to. You can even create a copy. You can have a copy sent to yourself if you're the agent. You can be notified. I'm going through the different line items. It says notify me the first time my client views it. So we'll send you an email saying your client viewed the listing. And you can even send this to your local email client. So let's say you use Mac Mail like I do and you like to send everything through your own mailing system. You can send it directly to your Mac Mail. And then you can create your own manual message as well. And then you just email it. And you can even create your own templates. So if you don't like this, you can override it. And email it out. Once you're done with that, you just return to your search results and you're back to square one. Emailing is the same functionality. Wanted to give you the same as print. That's another function. Why am I showing you this? I guess the takeaways here is that you can print a list view, a report. You can print your documents, open house information. You can print multiple different reports at the same pass. So that's the takeaway here. So maybe I wanted to print a agent full, a custom full report. I want to print both public and private reports. I want to print out the history of the property. I want to print out documents. I can do that. Open house information. Maybe I want to print out a map of each listing and print it and go. Now, why am I even pointing that out? Because how we print is we print in a collated fashion, meaning we group everything by listing number. So everything that I ask for will come by listing number. So the public and private report, the map in one grouping of MLS, then the next listing, then the next listing. So I can literally take it off the printer and go. So if I preview this, you're going to see the listing. So I asked for an agent public and private report. So this is the agent report. Notice that the public report didn't have that. Here's the additional photo report, another type of report I asked for. Here's the map with the parcel map printed, the overall map printed. And now we're on to the next listing.
Another really cool pointer with the map or with the printing function of the maps. So depending upon your location, you might want it to be different zoom levels when you print. So you can adjust the zoom levels on each one of the print sections. So maybe you just want it to be one click further out to show a little bit more of the neighborhood. So you can click it, the zoom out option in that little box there, and it'll zoom you out one click. And now when you send it to the printer, it'll print that zoom level for that particular listing. You know, some might be a little bit more further out on the edge of a neighborhood. Some might be a little bit more, you know, into the neighborhood itself, so you don't need to see as much. It depends. And then also, Matt, if you zoom up or if you scroll up just a little bit, there's a history section. So that history section you can expand and collapse out if you want to point out to a customer, okay, it's been price reduced 3 or 4 times. You just expand out those segments, and when you send it to the printer, those will print out expanded and the other ones will be collapsed to save you printer space.
CMA, so the CMA is, so I don't want to go through every little function, every little piece of the system, but the CMA, kind of a similar thing. I guess your takeaway, guys, is that the workflow is really similar to what you're used to. You search, you find your results, and then you do what you want, right? Print, email, CMA, export, save. We have a lot more, we have some functionality that you're maybe not used to that gives you some added capabilities, but it's all right there on one screen. You're not having to go to 5 different screens to get it. Search, find, act above the tabs. Okay? That's your takeaway. So CMA is the CMAs that you're used to. You have a full CMA where you can create, I guess you call it a CMA package. We call it a full CMA. You have a quick CMA, and then you have a statistical CMA that allows for appraisers to do a 104MC report. For the, I'm not going to go into every little aspect, but it's all right into there. We're almost out of time here.
We're at 90 minutes.
Yeah, and then the final thing is export. So you're used to exporting again. You search, you find the results, you export out of the system. You can create generic text exports. You can create, there's defaulted exports for you. It's all right there within one click. You don't have to go and bring back results, and you don't have to go to the details tab or the photos tab. I can go directly to any of these function buttons without doing anything. So it's just really up to you on how you want to work through the system.
What's the text export?
Troy, you want to answer that?
Text export, so comma separated value file. If you're a data person, statistical type person, you can raw export data out of the system. A really beneficial, well, we've seen a lot of benefits to appraisers because they have specific spreadsheets set up with the columns in the order that they want, and each of you can define a custom export. So it exports in this column first, second, third, fourth, and I only want these 8 fields to be exported at all. So you can customize all of that stuff specifically for how you do your business.
So let's talk about some other things that you're probably not familiar with. Let's see if they have it here. Tester reports. So in our system, we've built agent-friendly reports that you can customize. These are flyers. These are container-based reports that don't allow you as an agent not to be a report designer and really be able to add fields and that you need for your different, really it's flyers in essence. But you're looking at a detailed version 1, and it's a container-based report. You can change the colors and the themes and things of that nature. But the key is that you want to be able to change the container information in it. So you can see, click to add a field. You click, you add. Maybe I want to add the type of listing it is, or maybe I want to change the title of this group, or maybe I want to remove or change a label. You can call it bedrooms instead of bathrooms. So this is an easy report designer that allows you to just point and click, drag and drop, make it easy, not have to learn a report writer. So this is our custom report writer for agents, drag and drop technology. It's responsively designed as well, so that if your client receives this type of flyer, it's a responsive design format, so that if they're on a tablet, it form factors to the tablet. So again, I can change this information if I just want to call it, instead of general property description. I mean, people don't understand cumulative days on market and things of that nature. Maybe you want to create your own labels. That's the whole purpose. So I can update. I can even create 2 columns instead of 1 column. Let's do that too as well. And then I just click on update. And now it changes that grouping into a 2-column description, and you notice I changed it to bedrooms. So it's a container-based report. It makes it easy for you to change and save your report and preview it. So those are things that you're not used to seeing that are easy. You can again change the theming. So there's different themes and different color themes that you can have. There's reddy brown, there's a chalk, so different colors, and then you can even preview different listings if you want. And you can do it by property type. Statistics, we have a bunch of different styles of statistics for you. We have production statistics. Let's go out of this page. Kind of get into that. I got to show the listing activity report. Let me go to I'm going to switch gears here for a second, go to an entirely different MLS, but show you some real life information. Go my good friend Steve. By the way, what I just showed you there, probably you should highlight it out, is that's a work on behalf feature. So if you're an agent that has if there's multiple agents and maybe you have an assistant working for you that needs to work as you, this is how they do that. They can work as you that way. They don't need to do that. Like if they wanted to add a listing for you, they don't need to work on your behalf to do that. That happens directly at the listing input screen for us. I don't know, I forget if you guys have Teams, I forget. Do you use Teams? You do yours? So Teams, we handle Teams probably different than you're used to. We can get into that in a sec. Let me show you what I wanted to get at, which is statistics. So this is my production. So my production allows you to see a graph of your total sold, your list sold, your quota list, sales year over year. So you can compare that information and see your volume. This is a Santa Barbara agent, so Santa Barbara, California, near me, where I live. So this is the good information that we get to see here from a production standpoint. If I want to run my year-to-date report, I toggle, and now I can see my actives to my current, to my office, to the MLS, and see those percentages and look at all this information here. The other type of reports that you run are maybe graphical in nature. So these are built into our system, or these are called market summary reports. These allow you to look at based on specific areas. So I'm looking at Montecito specifically, and I can build in different graphs. And then we also have the ability to create graphical reports like inventory reports based on any available search field in the MLS. So if you're looking at a specific mile marker or you wanted to look at pools, you can create an inventory graph on this. You can create days on market analysis to price based on your fields, sold to units. Maybe that's what you want to look at. Volume of average prices. You can do that. And then you can even do it on changes. You can even create, when we talked about those saved map layers, going back to saved map layers, you can even use saved map layers to define your location and create statistics around. So if you created that polygon map and you saved it, you can bring that polygon up and use it as a boundary area, if you will. So those are statistics. We also have ranking reports. So you're used to doing ranking reports to see who's the #1 agent in a specific area. That's all found under either inventory and production or market trends reports. That's all capable for you. If you're a member of a team like Steve is, you can see that he has his own individual listings, like my actives, 5 pendings, listings set to expire and his sold listings. But then he's also a member of a team, and so you're able to see that information directly on his inventory gadget as well. So you're seeing the two different pieces there. You can do your hot sheets directly from here and square it away. Let's see, what else did I want to show? Let me go into
The listing activity report.
All right. So I'm going to look into Steve's listing here. Number one, there's a couple different pieces here. Right next to the listing number is this chevron, this chevron, which is an arrow down. It basically tells you that there's additional actions. And to that, I can see a couple different things. I can run what's called a listing activity report. That's my client's hits report. And what that allows me to do as the agent is it allows me to look and see the different listings that are that people have done or liked on the listing. So let's take a look at this specifically. Number one, I'm seeing the summary information of the listing. On moving left to right, where people are viewing this listing, this is an important piece, you guys. Why it's important for us is that we identify not only your agent hits, but we also differentiate between email hits, what you're emailing. We differentiate between what the IDX, your SmartFrame IDX, we track that, and we also track your portal hits. And then moving even forward, the last option is we track third-party vendors hits. So maybe there's a prevalent website vendor here that can use our technology, our API, and we can track information for them. So what's this saying to my seller? It's saying that when I put this listing on the market in the MLS, I got 112 agents viewed it. 418 clients viewed it via email. 109 people went to agents' websites and viewed it. On the portal, 19 people. And on Photo Tours IDX, 197. This is live data. This is his information, so I know it's working. On the portal, to Shelby's point, not everyone loves and likes listings. So one person liked the listing. This is for your seller. We give them a graph of where people viewed it and the percentages. Actions people took. This is great. So on the portal, they didn't like it, but 15 people shared your listing. So 15 consumers actually went and sent it to their friends and family from the portal. Here's those different actions like showing requests, contact me, that information. People who viewed this listing, so we didn't have too many loves and likes, so there's not information there, but people who viewed this listing also viewed, after they viewed your listing, went out and viewed these listings. So we have that. Now, maybe you're saying, oh my gosh, I don't want to send that to my client. No. That's fine. You don't have to. You can use it as yourself. You can even email it to yourself if you want on an automated basis and leverage that information. But it's great information to know. It's the Amazon.com effect, really. And it gives you the goods to know what your competition is, maybe if you're going for a price reduction. So that's the listing activity report. Other things that you can do, right from any of your listings, you can edit the listing. I don't know if you use lockboxes here, but there's integration to Supra. You can change price. You can upload photos. Wanted to show you our photo tool. It's familiar to what you use. The photo tool allows you to see a thumbnail image. But if you look at, we don't define what the labels of your photos are. You drag, as Troy said, the entire folder in. We keep the naming convention that you stored it on your computer. We bring it in. There's inline text here that you can inline, and you can drag and drop the different fields. So if I wanted to move this upper living room photo over, and I'm not going to move it over, but that's how I would do it, just drag and drop it over to that. Okay? Uploading the photo is easy. All your photos at once. See that thumbnail image, and you can rotate, flag it, and inline edit. Inline edit the text. 1,000 character remarks for that. Last thing I want to show you. So let's say I was working any listing, and I hit this toggle to additional actions, and I know this listing, I have like 1,000 clients, maybe 100 are qualified, and I know this listing meets one of my clients' needs, but I don't know who it is specifically. Well, we have the functionality to match a contact to any listing. So you just click on that match function. It's going to search my entire database of contacts. This is Steve's legit contacts. There was no matches found, so there's no clients that he has that match this listing. So that's how I work it. I can do that on any listing, so it can search my entire contact database and go through it. And so now you're seeing some matching contacts in this listing. There's 4 different contacts that match this listing that I can email directly from here. They're my personal contacts that I can email from here. So I don't need to know too much information from that. You guys have done a lot of talking. Troy's done a lot of talking. I'm starting to wear myself out on my voice. Apologize for that. Why don't we open up for questions? What's that? Yeah, I was like salivating for you to raise your hand. Yeah, oh, in the back. Raise his hand first.
Yeah, you just said match contact. What criteria?
So basically, when you create a contact, you have a set of parameters that you store with the contact, like 3 bedroom, 4 bath, 500,000. So if you've done that for your contacts, and let's say this house was 485, based on that criteria point, it would show in as a match. Like this meets the price point, etc.
Basically a safe search that you have related to a contact.
So
If
we
it
can
meets
already
one of those
be in the
parameters.
portal if you set that up?
Depends. You may not set that stuff up, right? You may be one that didn't set up. You might not
Really
do
went
that.
halfway through or it expired.
Right, they may just be expired, or maybe you're just saying, hey, maybe this is a contact that's not really working with me, but I just want to run it to see who it pops up for. That's a good example. Yep.
What's involved in converting the old data from the repository system to yours, bringing all the contacts, everything else, all our information from one platform to the other?
You want to take it?
So a little bit about the conversion process, and we've actually had really great history with Rapatoni and converting their listing data. We've done large number of conversions just even in the last 2 and 3 years. In the last couple of years, they've been providing safe search criteria that we have been successful in converting. So minimizing the amount of effort involved in getting your clients set up and rolling again with their automated emails and their match prospect services. So we've been able to convert all that content, all the contacts, all your listing history as far back as we're provided access to that information for, and even safe searches as long as they're providing that information to us.
Oh, it's up to RAP to give it to you.
Correct. Yeah.
That's why sometimes it's not working out so well.
And also if there's any database changes, it could break the safe searches too, if there's any changes. So that's kind of new as far in the conversion world for us, is converting those safe searches. But we have been doing so.
But converting contacts is usually a standard process for us in a data conversion. Contacts. Converting contacts. Now, you guys asked us questions, and I submitted a document back, and I said we would do our best efforts to convert your saved searches attached to your contacts.
Your best efforts in what respect?
Well, we don't know what we don't know yet, so we have to get that data from Rapatoni to be able to analyze to see if it's functional data for us to use and leverage. And another example that we gave yesterday to a different MLS that was asking us about the same specific question is that we have to get it in a timely manner, right? We can't have it a week, we can't get saved search data a week before the live date and expect to convert it. So they have to be cooperative. Just like a transaction, you have to have cooperation from both.
How about certain unique or different fields that we have versus the...
Yeah, that's again a question that I answered in the document. So for your statuses, so you have certain statuses that are specific. Those are, if you decide to merge into the database, which is the question that you're really asking, you have to agree on those, the status. But if there's a required field that you need in Key West that Key Largo, that area doesn't have, we can do that. But the statuses are over an overall general, like we're deeming these active and active contingent. That's an overall, you gotta agree. But a field, like, I don't know, what field did you think you need? I don't know. We don't know, so we have to.
Martini pool.
Exactly, Martini pool.
But that would be a scenario like Martini pool. It's a feature, just like whether it's fiberglass or concrete, in ground, above ground. That's something that we could add even in seconds, as long as the MLS group agreed, and I wouldn't foresee that being a dramatic effort to make somebody agree on that.
Talking about the conversion of contacts, I understood it's easy to convert the names, phone numbers, and contact information, but can you also convert the search criteria, all the notes you made, like the complete information for each contact?
So again, that's kind of, we can't answer that question until we see the data in your system. But typically, were we able, like in Gabar, were we able to convert notes on the client?
Yep. So in a couple of recent Rapatoni conversions, they have cooperated well and provided us that content in a timely manner. And the transition from their current MLS database format to the new database format wasn't drastically different. Typically, during a conversion, the MLS group would say, yeah, we want to make improvements. We want to change these fields, these other fields. So those would have some connections to possible difficulties of converting that type of saved search. However, again, it's dependent upon where you're at today, what the database is going to look like, and then again during the cooperation with Rapatoni in order to get that info in a timely manner would answer that question.
But right now, you know, you'd be merging into the Florida Keys database, and I don't think there's too much differentiation between how you have it set up. Maybe there's a couple fields, but not too much. We're already mapping the data, right? We're already working that, so it's a lot of that. The unknowns have already been kind of flushed out, if you will. So it makes it a little bit easier, I'd say, in that regard. But again, it's a challenging process, and so that's, you know, we're going to do our best, and that's why I wanted to say that. We're going to try to do our best, and that's what we do. Yep.
In
Karen.
doing our due diligence, our AE called the 5 most recent associations where you guys had converted from Rapatoni to Flex, and we could not find one board that was able to convert the client portals.
Yeah, we never said we'd convert client portals. What we said we'd be able to do is convert your saved searches And
I mean, we can take a stab at trying to.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, we can take a stab at converting like their favorites and dislikes
Right.
and notes if they give us that content. In the past conversions, that content hasn't been provided, so we
So
weren't
you're
able
asking
to-
listing, you're asking the carts attached to your client? Not, we didn't agree to that. We agreed to
No,
convert your
but
safe
we never,
searches.
and I'm not saying that. They
Right.
did not think that the portals would transfer. Well, I
Right.
should say that the last board thought that they were going to transfer Antelope Valley.
Mhm.
And they ended up dumping all of their data, both their contacts as well as those searches associated with contacts, because nothing pulled over.
I don't know. I can't answer that question other than we did that for them, and then if they didn't want to turn it on, then that was up to their discretion. But we did convert the data. So again, converting safe searches is a challenging task. It might not be 100%. And if there is not 100%, it's up to the board to make a business decision on, hey, maybe we wanted to say, look, you have all your search criteria. You can print out your contacts and your safe searches from Rapatoni. You have all this stuff. You can recreate it in a parallel period, make sure it's all live, and scrub it to make sure it's right, and reset it. So again, there's
We have 11,000 portals.
right, but they're a 2,000 member board. So
Yavar was.
So again,
Antelope Valley
they
was.
probably have 50,000 portals.
And this is new to the industry, converting safe searches period. That's new to the industry in pretty much the last 2 years, last year and a half, really. I've been with FBS for 11 years, and I've directed probably near 100 conversions. And of all of those conversions, we've done one conversion every month roughly in the last 24 months. And of those, we're provided maybe a half a dozen to a dozen safe search criteria pieces of data. So long time ago, that wasn't a possibility. So converting the safe searches is a tremendous step in the right direction. Technology-wise, though, some tools that we're providing here today is that if you were to convert to FBS, all that content we have as a tool available to another mobile developer, or if you ever leave FBS in the future, that information is all readily available so you can take it with you. That stuff wasn't intended before.
Right.
Yeah, like for example, for our customers, safe searches, listing cards, those types of things are in a documented in standard format available through an API. So that it's never really happened, but the next vendor can have access. It'll be up to them. It's always up to.
We're standardizing.
Yeah. It'll be up to them to pull that and bring that into their system.
That's our biggest concern.
Yeah. No, it's a valid concern. Absolutely.
So the other thing too is to mention, so you called 5 accounts that have actually converted from Rapatoni to FlexMLS. There's actually been 8 accounts that have converted overall. So we have tremendous experience, and that's my point, is converting Rapatoni accounts into our system successfully. So the safe searches is, yes, that's one issue, but they've converted 8 over the last 2 years have come over to us. About, I think I referenced it in the document, 20,000 end users have come over to us.
You had a question, sir?
But there has never been a successful conversion of a client portal.
The portal content, if made available, will make an effort to convert it. We've not been provided that content in those past conversions. But the contacts is a standard thing. We've been doing that for 15 years during conversions. So
right.
Name and email address and phone number and stuff like that. Safe searches, that's new stuff in the last year and a half or so. And if we're giving that information in a respectable amount of time, we've been successful in converting that content. If we're given the portal information, we'll take a stab at it, but that would be brand new to us. I don't know of anybody that's ever successfully converted that content.
But we'd also like to figure out a parallel period, right, in which you can work to get those established.
Speaking about the parallel period, I read the document that Arizona received that said you can't enter your safe searches back into your client portals until the go live date. Is that correct?
That's on a customer by customer basis. Some of them allowed that, some of them did not, depending upon if the MLS had required training in order to get able to log in.
I think you said something about there was a final call before you go live.
Yeah.
The data if you began to enter those searches.
Customer by customer basis. If we were to wait until the very end of the parallel period to get your most recently updated contacts converted over, maybe we update the contacts 1 month before you go live. If the MLS wants to update those contacts again before you go live, we can't have saved searches connected to a contact if they disappear or if they replicate or duplicate. It's a technical process.
Right.
So in theory, there's a possibility that we
Sure.
have to begin entering those 11,000 after the go live.
It all depends, it's all speculation, depending upon schedules, depending upon the MLS's desires of if you want to update that stuff immediately before the official cutover, or do you want to just update those changes of contacts from the first load. For example, I just did a conversion and they went live middle of last week. They had their contacts loaded in a month and a half ago, so it allowed their agents to go in and start updating that. And they didn't do a final update from their competing or their vendor product. So then we didn't overwrite anything. There was no conflicts, no collisions of contact information, stuff like that.
So if that's the case, then why would you ever not do it that way?
It's all based on the MLS's desires. We do what the customer tells us what they want to do.
So it's kind of a trade-off, right? Because basically, if you want to keep adding contacts into your old system, and then at the last day we take that data and bring it into FlexMLS, if you made any changes in FlexMLS, it's going to override that. So you kind of got to pick, right? So, and we'll work with you on what is that time frame, right? So, if it's a week before go live, all right, that's when you have access to FlexMLS contacts. Any changes you make in the Rapatoni system won't be reflected over to the new system during that week, right? Because we're not going to do another upload of contacts. So if it's a month, that's kind of a long time, right? So it's really up to you guys to determine, and we'll work with you on that. So because you can't be updating both systems because
But you can't
at some
manually.
point it's going to. Yeah, you can, but
manually.
you're going to lose one or the other depending on which direction you go. So
just so you guys know, I mean, I just want to, because we're hyper focused on contacts. Karen and Scott, I appreciate both of your questions because I know that's a really important piece. But just know we've done a conversion once a month for the last 24 months. We're one of the hottest growing vendors here. Every one of them has had to go through the pain points that you're talking about, but they did that because there was other benefits of our system other than just contacts, which is short term. In 6 months, that's a non-issue. So I want you guys to not, I mean, I know that that's what you want to do. I was a realtor, I get it. But I got to tell you, I mean, don't get so hyper-focused in one issue. Look, you got to remember about all the reasons why you're looking at FlexMLS. And if it's just because of contacts, you know what, you guys, that's a challenging one to overcome. It's not great for any vendor.
And who knows, there might be a scenario at one point in time in the future where your current vendor changes or overhauls their whole portal functionality. And there's some way where they don't transfer into the new portal service. So, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns that are out there. And again, the transmission of or conversion of these saved searches even is new to the industry, the whole industry, period, in the last year and a half. That never happened in the 50 conversions that I
We're
did.
actually selling real estate now.
Yeah.
I know that you're kind of over, this whole contacting, but I do have a major concern as well with the transfer of automated emails and the auto prospecting that we do, all of that history with the customer. Does that just go away, or can you transfer that over?
The connection, like if we're given the safe searches and they're successfully converted in, the connection from the contact to the saved search is literally about a 2 or 3 click process. You look at the contact, and Matt, actually, he's got it up on the screen here. Just select a contact and to add an auto email to it. So, Cliff.
I want to know about my existing auto email.
No, but
all of my history on that contact. There's no way to.
more than likely, unless again that data is provided to us, that content is.
So all of my former contact with that person is basically gone.
Like the past listing links that they've received, yes.
Emails that we sent through the system, all of that. There's no way
Correct.
to transfer any of that.
About 99.9% positive that that's a proprietary piece of data that your vendor would.
Just didn't know.
Yeah, that they would never give. Yeah.
I'm looking at some CRM programs,
And they're telling me, through this franchise, one of the programs they have, that I can start doing auto prospecting type emailing to my customers, managing my relationships with this other piece. So if I started using that, let's say next month, and over the next 6 months, I use this third-party auto prospecting.
You'd probably be totally fine with that because it's outside of the MLS system entirely.
I'm just pulling data and I'm loading up that.
Yep.
And then someday, I wanted to use yours internally, I may be able to convert even from that.
Transition your contacts back into the MLS
Might give
system.
another piece.
It's possible, yeah.
And there might be a way to go from RAP, maybe we can upload from RAP into a third-party thing that's not their competition, a little easier.
Right, so there's a lot of aspects to what Troy mentioned before was, about safe search data and stuff like that. So customers that are currently Flex, let's say you have a broker that has their own back-end system, a big back-end system, they want you to prospect through that. We have the capability with our API, our application programming interface, to allow for your broker to pull all the contacts and all that data and use their back office.
And your safe searches.
And your safe searches and all that information. So that has been built for 2 years for us. So again, that's a big advantage for those customers that are using Flex and the brokers that have their own proprietary systems in-house that they want to use. I don't know if that's applicable here, but that may be, because it's always a recruiting tool. So just want to make sure that you guys know that that's functionality that we have too.
Yeah, my question is, you continually hedge by saying if we are provided with the information, will you be willing to write into your contract with us that upon termination, you will provide all that information to our new supplier in a timely manner?
Absolutely. It's available via our API today. It's actually documented online for all of our customers.
And yes, to answer.
Yeah, so we'll put it in the contract. I actually arranged, we had a really small, about 40-member association that because of the NAR changes, they were absorbed by a neighboring association that was much larger. They were separate MLSs and they're now joining MLSs. We just shipped off their safe search criteria to that new vendor that's going to be now servicing that 40 members. So yeah.
And will that be in a proprietary format that the new vendor may not be able to extract?
Well, no, actually it's called the Spark platform or API. It's all part of data standards that you're hearing a lot if you're involved with the MLS committee. There's a group called RESO, R-E-S-O, and they're standardizing how you name pools, how you name square footage. It's a nationwide requirement that by the end of this year that all MLSs abide to that data standards. And our safe searches are based on that standardized name. So that recipient of the safe searches, it's not a proprietary format. It's in the standardized naming convention, standardized format to indicate if it's a map search, if it's a radius search, if it's an address search, or whatever it might be.
And even more importantly, we have it documented in detail. That's available on our website, so they have access to the documents on how to convert that data instead of them guessing on what
That would
everything
include
means.
the context.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
actually
of course.
it's under Spark platform for anybody that wants to go after this meeting and go look under API services. Everything is documented from safe searches to contacts to tags to quick searches, all of that good stuff.
So just understand this, Rapatoni basically holds it hostage, this information that we want. And in all these conversions that you've done, they've never let it go. Like there's no way to convince them to
They let
it
go of the safe search criteria. We've successfully done
I'm talking
that.
about what everybody's worried about here is different.
The carts.
They're worried about their history with their clients, that they want to come with them.
Unfortunately,
But Rapatoni's never let that go.
we've not received that.
Okay, so if you were to receive it by some miracle, Rapatoni lets it go, it can be converted.
Not saying that it can be converted, but because we've never received it before, so we don't have any basis to go off of. So if we receive it in a timely manner, in a legible format, which we can identify with, we'll take an attempt at converting it, yes. We will try.
I mean, we want to help. I mean, we're employed. So the thing that Troy mentioned at the first part of our presentation to you FBS, Flex MLS, we're an employee-owned company. Troy owns the company, Dave owns the company, I own the company. Maybe not as much as he does because he's been there a little longer. But it doesn't matter. We're all owners. We live and die by this company. So we want to do the best possible job for you guys. No different than your business.
The end result of what you're doing is gonna make everybody's job easier. They'll be able to deal with their customers on a one-click basis versus going from here to there to
Right.
there to there. So overall, you gotta look at the whole picture. The
Right.
end result's gonna be remarkable.
Yeah.
There's going to be any conversion's difficult. There's going to be some short-term pain with training, learning the
So
new
the
system.
short-term pain would be to manually enter in all their information.
Yeah, there's some unknowns with that kind of stuff. We're not
How
going to promise we're going to
What's
do
that?
that.
How long does it take to manually enter a client
So
portal?
I could do so the same workflow that you're used to doing in Rapatoni. I mean, I could go through a training class, but the way that I did in Rapatoni was I searched, I found my results that I needed, and then I saved a client. You search in Rapatoni, you search in our system. So you search, you save the listings that you want to create, and you save the search, and then you basically go through the same process, creating your contact.
So
right there. It's
So
pretty quick.
regarding the cart thing though, the collections and the favorites that your clients have built over time, on that search screen, so here, let me just do it. So on this,
We're gonna wrap it up.
yeah, on this search screen, there's this work on behalf of a contact. So if I work on behalf of a person, it'll change it, and then I can, I don't even know what account they are.
It's not gonna look for that when it's going?
Wow. I'm not sure where we're at, but anyways, so you're working on behalf of a customer, and now there's a thumbs up and favorite and such. So to rebuild or make those connections, they have these 50 favorited properties. You'd be looking at their saved search that you already have them set up, and you just go through the process and click the thumbs up,
And you
favorites.
can go copy and paste some old comments into a new
Sure,
comment box.
you can definitely do that.
Yeah, you can copy and paste a lot in our system. Yep.
So you
How
can
does
just
the
be
training
ready to
process
publish.
work? Is it an hour?
What's that?
How does the training process?
Training is typically a 90-minute getting started, how to log in, how to
Per
add.
offices, or you do this in big groups?
We do it in a group like this, lecture-based type learning, and we also do webinars before and focused webinars after go live, so specific webinar and CMAs.
The
after
whole
you've gone
process
live.
to switch from Rapatoni to Flex is what, 6 months?
Usually about a 4-month period from a signature to a go live date, depending upon, again, scenarios and situations. Yep.
Can you import information, like if someone already has a top producer or an agent office or, some of the other platforms that have contact lists? Can they import anything into
Yeah,
Flex?
most of those systems have an export functionality, and contacts are a pretty easy standard thing. First name, last name, phone number, email address.
It's on the screen. There's an import contact function.
Yeah, you just export a file out of Top Producer and import it into FlexMLS. Yeah.
Contacts are easy.
I guess that's kind of the wrapping up.
We'll stick around if
We'll
anyone
stick
has
around and
any
we'll
questions.
ask questions. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free. We'll come up. We can even show you hands-on.
Thanks for letting me.
Special focus.